Hello, all you awesome people out there. Welcome and welcome back to the channel. I am your host, as always, with the mostest, Geek Viz Hoov, and we have here yet another edition of I Just Watched, where we're going to be talking about the fact that I just watched One Piece Into the Grand Line. That is season 2 of Netflix's live-action adaptation of the immensely popular manga and anime One Piece. Um, I don't think I ever did one of the. Did I do one for season one? I might have did one for season one, but it might have been a podcast one before we did the video stuff. I don't remember too much. But yeah. So we watched season one. I used to have to rewatch season one because season one dropped right when I was moving into my place here a couple of years ago. So I had to rewatch that one. But we watched season two. Season one was phenomenal. Was a great, surprisingly really great adaptation of the show. So we'll see if season two was able to keep up. As y'all already know, on these I Just Watched, I give a general overview of the show. We talk about the writers, the directors, the stars, where you can watch it when it came out. I get into a little bit of the story. I cover important elements, so I don't dive too deep into the story if it necessitates. And I'll talk about what I liked, what I didn't like, what's next for the show, and then I just give my general thoughts on the show as well. This being an adaptation of source material that I do know and I'm pretty familiar with. We are also going to point out any differences, any big differences, Easter eggs, and all that good stuff between the anime manga adaptation and kind of what they did differently here in the live action adaptation. And then, of course, like I said, we'll talk about my general thoughts on the show as well. But if you haven't already, feel free to check out some of the other stuff on the channel as well. We did one for Paradise Season 2. There's a lot of Season 2s around lately, weirdly enough. Yeah, Paradise Season 2, Percy Jackson the Olympian Season 2, Fallout Season 2. So feel free to check all those out. We also get back into playing games. So RoboCop Episode 10 is now out. If things go exactly how I'm thinking and planning for them to go, the next Dragon Age episode will be out after this. So that'll be out tomorrow from when we record this video. But anyway, that's enough for the intros. Let's go ahead and get right into our review for One Piece Into the Grand Line. So, One Piece released on March 10th. It is available on Netflix. The show was written by, with the showrunners being Matt Owens and Steve Maida. Additional writers are Lindsay Gelfand, Tom Heineman, Ashley Winfield, and Joe Trax. The series has been directed by Emma Sullivan, Youssef Wadika, Lucas Etlin, Christopher Shrairy, I think that's how you say it. And the show stars Anaki Godoy, Emily Rudd, McKinney, Jacob Romero, Taz Skylar, Vincent Reagan. I should have looked at how to pronounce his name. Charithra Chandran, Michaela Hoover, Morgan Davies, Aiden Scott, Lyra Abova, and Joe Mangello. Is it Manganello? Mangello? You know what the fuck I'm talking about. Alright, so the story and the plotline of Season 2 of One Piece involves the Straw Hats finally entering into the Grand Line, gaining new friends and enemies as they chase their dreams, and basically as soon as they enter the Grand Line, they find themselves entering into a massive political conflict. So that's a little bit of the story here. So you already know we gotta talk about more stuff in our important notes section here. So important notes. So Into the Grand Line basically covers the start of the Alabasta and the Grand Line arcs. So it includes the Logtown, Reverse Mountain and Laboon, Whiskey Peak, Little Garden, and we end off on Drum Island. If you're familiar with the source material, you should know all of that stuff. But that's everything that's covered here in season 2 of the show. Next up, we got to talk about Nefertari Vivi. Originally believed to be Miss Wednesday of Baroque Works. We'll get more on them later. As it turns out, Vivi is actually the princess of the Kingdom of Alabasta. Alabasta is currently being tricked and forced into a civil war due to the meddlings of the group Baroque Works. Vivi and another one of her advisors, Igaram, went undercover into Baroque Works to find out who sits at the top. And they did, and now she's with the Straw Hats, and that is the political conflict I mentioned that the Straw Hats find themselves embedded in this season. But speaking of Baroque Works, let's talk about a little bit more on them. So Baroque Works is a network of assassins with a vast number of grunts and killers with powerful agents ordered in a hierarchy. So think of it like a pyramid. It was funny because Alabasta is based off of like Egyptian architecture and stuff. So think of it like a pyramid. You got your main man up top. That's led by Mr. Zero. Their identity is unknown for the most part. We do find out. I feel like spoilers are so weird when you talk about adaptations, especially for something that's popular and been around for as long as One Piece. Fuck, I'm gonna talk about it. So, Mr. Zero, whose identity is unknown, but we do find out at the end of the show, it is led by one Sir Crocodile, played by Joe Manganiello. That's how you say it. And then from there on, you got his important officers. And then at the very bottom, you got your big number of grunts. But yeah, so the higher placed agents all go by code names and work in a male-female pairs. Like when we discover Vivi, she is under the code name of Miss Wednesday, and she is paired up with a Mr. Nine. And that's kind of how the hierarchy of Baroque Works goes. One of the main villains of the show, we find are, Mr. Five. He's paired up with Miss... Miss Valentine. There we go. I think that's right. Yeah. And then Mr. 3, who's paired up with Miss Golden Week. So that's kind of how the pairings and the name and stuff work. The women are named after like holidays, while the guys are named after numbers. And like I said, the higher the number, the more important they are in the actual Baroque Works. But like I said, they're led by Mr. Zero, who sits at the very top. Identity unknown, but it's Mr. Crocodile. Next time we gotta talk about Chopper. The Straw Hats take on a new member, Tony Chopper. He comes on as the ship's doctor. After Nami gets a sickness from their adventures in a Little Garden, they try to find a doctor, end up going to Drum Kingdom, and befriend a little reindeer man by the name of Chopper. And we go to Chopper's backstory. Chopper is a blue-nosed reindeer who's basically ostracized and kicked out from the other reindeers because he had a blue nose. He ended up eating a devil fruit. The human fruit, which turned him into a man reindeer. A reindeer man. That's the way they ordered, right? Yeah. Turns him into a reindeer man, which unfortunately also gets him ostracized from the civilians of Drum Kingdom. But he does end up finding a friend. He's ended up being taken in by a doctor named Hiroluk, who trains him to be a doctor. And that's where he gets his training from. And then, of course, like I said, Chopper comes aboard the Straw Hats ship and the Mary to act as the ship's doctor. That's all I got for important notes. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I should probably talk about or go into, but I don't think so. That's the important overall arcing things. So if you didn't see this season and then you go into season 3, these are probably the most important things to remember for that one. All right, so let's talk about what I liked. As soon as I drink some of this water. All right, so what I liked, the fight choreography. The fight choreography is fucking top notch in this show. There is some really good action in this season, like from like big major fights to like just like small, really intricate fights. Like right now it's showing like the interaction between like Nami and Vivi. That was really good. I just really like just the action has been surprisingly very, very good in this season. I don't know what the hell it is, what they did, but it's just really good. Also, like how active they made like Nami in this season too. She was like that in season 1 as well. But like in the series, Nami is very much Nami very much avoids conflict and avoids getting into fights. Unless she like really has to. Like the number of fights that Nami has in the source material is very small. But they got Nami being pretty fucking active in this season, and I like it. I really do like it. But yeah, speaking of the fight choreography, still a part of it. Again, we're kind of going over it. I'm glad this little behind the scenes things is going over this part now. But another thing I really want to talk about is the fucking choreography of Zoro versus 100 of the Baroque Works assassins. An extremely impressive feat they did here. It all takes place in one location. It all takes place in this fucking building. Just like just, I don't know, just the choreography, the amount of people involved with it, how everybody has to know their timing and their spots. Because when they get killed and they get knocked down, they have to stay there. You see, every person he takes out still remains on screen, on the ground, as he continues fighting other characters. So again, like just like the planning and the choreography and everything here, all of that shit was really, really damn good. The fight against Wapol in the castle, fucking great. The little moments of Little Garden, fucking great. I don't know what it is. Just shouts out to the the stunt team in this show. They just do some really good damn work. Fucking Sanji versus Mr. Nine in the little fucking boat. Fucking great. It was all just good shit. Another thing I want to talk about, the Little Garden episode. I liked how Little Garden was more of an Usopp based episode. That was good. In the source material, it was kind of like that, but they really honed in on it being an Usopp based episode, and I really like that. It's one of those things where, like, now that this show really has the benefit of hindsight, where like now they kind of know where shit kind of ends up in a lot of spots, it allows them to tweak things to make things better. Because from this point on, Usopp in the source material, Usopp has continues to have this really connection with giant characters throughout the rest of the show. Like in Enies Lobby and in Dressrosa, he just has this innate connection and friendship to a lot of the other giant characters who pop up for the rest of the series. So I like how they really establish him here in this episode, where he first kind of starts that by befriending the giants in this episode. So I think that's really good. Also, the effects are really nice too. Especially Little Garden, where you have the two fucking giant characters in there. So them having to work with the size perspective of everything here is really good. The effects of the fight, the effects of the fight, Luffy's stretching can still look a little iffy at times, but for the most part, it's still pretty good. Mr. Three's wax effects was pretty interesting. And then Nico Robin's the effect with her little hand stuff, that was also pretty cool. So I like all of that shit that was going on there. Production design still fucking stands out in this show. It's still one of like the best things about this show, is just how they're able to make these locations and these settings and the set dressing from the anime and the manga, effectively bringing it to live action is just so damn good. With the production design, the wardrobe, the set dressing, all that shit, it's just so damn good. And then the cast is still just top. Now, they were all just the Straw Hats in fucking season 1 were all still really great. They continue that here. I don't know. I'll talk about it more once we get to my general thoughts on everything. But everybody fucking buys in. And you can tell, 1, everybody buys in, and 2, everybody is a fan. and it shows because the chemistry of the cast is just so damned good in this show. And not even just the cast, but just like the key cast, but also like additional characters. Just the casting, I don't know what it is about the show. The casting in this show is just like fucking top notch in this series. And it really manages to stand out when it has to. When you have to have these really big important moments, it really stands out here. That's about that. All that very short list of things. It's about everything I like here. So there's probably no surprise when we get to the what I didn't like. Nothing really. like there's wasn't really anything about this that I did not like. Everything fucking works here, which I think is like the biggest thing, especially when you do these live action adaptations of these anime. You always worry about what is going to work and what isn't. And I don't know how they managed to fucking do it, but they managed to make every fucking thing work. Even like Chopper being an all. Actually, you know what? There is one very small, minuscule thing I'll talk about that I didn't like. And it's a scene in Chopper's backstory where it's just him and Dr. Kureha, who's another doctor in the kingdom, played great by Kathy Siegel. Y'all know who Kathy Siegel is. Married with Children, Sons of Anarchy. She voices Leela in Futurama. She's in this place. She plays Dr. Kureha. There is one scene where it's just her and Chopper. And I can kind of tell by her performance, she still isn't really used, because Chopper is an all CG character. So I could kind of tell she still wasn't really used to basically acting against nothing in that scene, because the performance didn't come out that fucking strong. So I feel like it's either her still not really being used to acting against, a stand-in or whatever kind of thing they place in there, or it might have been just one of her earliest things she shot, and she still wasn't really that confident in what she was involved in or nothing yet. But the rest of her performance was really good. But I just remember that very scene. I was like, I didn't really like her performance there. You could kind of tell that's a scene where she wasn't really acting against anybody or anything in that scene. It was just her. And I agree. It's one of those things that's very hard, especially when it's your first time doing it. I remember specifically like Ian McKellen kind of talked about that filming the Lord of the Rings stuff. And filming against that green screen against nothing. It was very hard. But there you go. That's one thing that's one very specific minuscule thing I could put out to say I didn't like. So let's go into any changes here. And here I got a list of changes from the manga and anime, my thoughts on them, any kind of things that happened in this one that was innately different than the source material. So one of the bigger things, one of the earliest things that we all saw, because it was in like the first damn episode of the season, Bartolomeo appeared in Logtown. Bartolomeo is a character who doesn't appear until way later in the show, in the source material. I'm talking like post time skip. He comes back, so it's years before he pops up here. But to have him appear early in this scene here, I think it's pretty cool because his character is basically a massive like Luffy and Straw Hats fanboy. So I like him being here because it shows why he's a fanboy and how it happened, and two, it kind of gives a lot more time for him to kind of like to showcase the fandom happened so early on, so it would make sense why he's so obsessed once we see him again. So I didn't mind that he appeared here. I thought it was actually pretty cool, and I liked it. So I thought it was pretty dope. We got a couple early appearances here. Brook also appears very early. He appears in Laboon's backstory. Brook is the last Straw Hat to join the crew before the time skip. But he appears very early here. Again, makes perfect fucking sense. Like I'm not gonna lie, I probably would have been thought it might have been weird if he didn't appear in this backstory. Like I said, Brook is a character who appears way later. But he gives the backstory, and it turns out that he knows Laboon, and he's friends with him. He was part of the crew that Laboon has been waiting for. It's a big reveal in the source material, especially because, you know, it's something that was hundreds of chapters and episodes before we got here. But again, makes perfect sense because their stories are intertwined. So now that we know that's where he came from, and we know that connection now, he should appear here. So I thought it was cool. Made a lot of sense. Did not mind it at all. By the way, there are people who are upset that he's black, even though he's fucking black in the source material. I don't know what fucking white and or Japanese people who you know can grow a fucking afro like that. But yeah. So yeah, there you go. Also, Sabo makes a very surprise cameo in this too. Very small, it's a very little Easter egg cameo thing. Very small. Wouldn't be surprised if they just kind of had just an extra dress up in the outfit, because he was in the background. It was blurred out, but you could tell it was him by if you know his wardrobe. So it wouldn't be surprised if it was just an extra or just a stand-in they had in the outfit. Kind of had him come in, and he showed him very early on. But yeah, so he'll probably appear way later, probably have an actor actually cast to play the role next time we see him. So that was also pretty cool. Another difference, Smoker's reasons for going into the Grand Line is different. In the source material, it's similar, but there are some tweaks. In the source material, he goes because he sees that Luffy could possibly have like the same influences like Gold Roger, because Gold Roger kicked off the new pirate era. He feels that Luffy could possibly be that same person, so he wants to stomp that out early and get to him before he has the chance to being like king of the pirates or something. But in this show, it's a little tweaked. Garp actually approaches Smoker, and he actually wants Smoker to start investigating Baroque Works, because he feels that they have something to do with what's going on in Alabasta. So again, he still goes to the Grand Line, but now he kind of has a little different reasons to go. Igaram, slight spoilers here, I guess. Igaram is killed by Mr. Five instead of Miss All Sunday, like they tease in the source material. Again, same goal, just slightly different. Makes a little bit more sense here. In this one, it's Groggy who's injured instead of Dory. In Little Guardian, the Giants. It was actually the other giant who got hurt and blew up. Besides the one that did it in the show. Again, not that big of a change. Not very small. But you still achieve the same goal here. And this one, Wapol was given his Devil Fruit by Miss All Sunday and Baroque Works. In the source material, he already had it by the time he got introduced to him here. But in this one, he gets it because he has it connect with the Baroque Works. Again, just giving more to the whole thing of Baroque Works trying to deal with Vivi and the Straw Hats before they can reach Alabasta. So again, not doing too much, but still a welcome change. Finally, just some small Drum Island changes. Wapol does the whole thing where he transforms the army and they invade the village. That's completely new in this one as well. That didn't happen in the source material. I thought it was a pretty nice change. I was like, God damn, we get into fucking body horror territory in this show now. But I kind of welcomed it. I thought it was pretty nice. Yeah, and then Sanji was involved with the fight with Wapol's goons, and the source material was all Chopper. Actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, in the show, in the source material, Wapol did the same thing, but he did it for his two guys, the archer and the dude with the afro and the boxing gloves. He made them one person. So they just kind of took that idea and just applied it to his whole army in there. So I thought, hey, that was cool there. But Sanji was involved with the fight, and there was just Chopper and Luffy. Also, it all takes place inside the castle. In the source material, it all takes place outside of it. So again, very small changes, but nothing too big, nothing too earth-shattering. But I welcomed all the changes that they did here. Again, it still kept it faithful, but did just enough that they kind of did their own thing here. Yeah, so that was everything. That was all the changes. At least all the changes I could find out. If y'all seen any more, let me know down in the comments. All right, future of the franchise. Season 3 is currently filming. My guess is this is going to be covering the entirety of the Alabasta saga, so everything in Alabasta. We know we got the rest of Baroque Works is cast. We know we got Mr. 2, Mr. 1, Miss Doublefinger. I don't think we have a Mr. 4, Miss Christmas. So I don't think I don't know if they're going to be playing a role in this one. It makes me wonder what they're going to do with Usopp and Chopper for this season. I will say, if that is true, I'll be a little disappointed, because one of the best things about the Alabasta arc was the fact that it was the first time. Arlong Park was the first time, but it's like so it's the second time, but with everybody who's been added to the crew so far, it was the first time the entire crew, every member, fought, and I thought that was really cool. Because usually it's just Luffy, Zoro, Sanji, but Nami fought. Chopper had his first fight as a Straw Hat officially. Usopp fought. So I hope they keep that for that one as well. But yeah, I think it's gonna cover the entirety of the Alabasta saga. We know we get introduced to Ace because they cast Ace, Jolo Mandaera. I forget the guy he's from Cobra Kai and Blue Beetle. He's cast as Ace. So we know we're getting him next season as well. So, all right. So that was the future of the franchise. Now for my final thoughts. Season 2 does just as great a job of season 1, if not better. The top takeaway from the show, to me, is still the absolutely brilliant casting. As I mentioned before, the chemistry of the Straw Hats continues to shine through, but that also extends just beyond them. Fucking Vivi, Igaram, Smoker, and Tashigi, they are all fucking amazing here. And I don't know what it is about the villains they cast in this show, but they're always so damn good. Last season we had Avita, Buggy, and Arlong, who were all fucking phenomenal. Buggy came back again. He appears in the Logtown episode. Avita's come back too. Also, big credit to the actress. In season 1, when she played Avita, when Avita was a little bit more heavyset, she was also plus size. She lost the weight legitimately herself for the change, because Avita has what does she have? The slip fruit. Makes her body slippery, and because of that, they explain that because of that, the weight kind of slipped off her body as well, so she's more thin, more skinny. The actress legitimately lost that weight to play that change, so shouts out to her. All of the Baroque work ages here are so good. I can't wait to see more of them and more Crocodile next season. Shouts out, I wrote it out. Shouts out to Libby Goldstein and Junie Lowry Johnson, the casting directors for this show, because they just do a phenomenal job. And I do want to kind of talk about it a little bit more here, because we see Matt Owens, who's the showrunner, talk about it. We see Steve talk about it. I think the thing that really makes this fucking show work so well, I mentioned it a little bit before, is because, one, everybody's a fan of the source material. If not a majority of them, but everybody seems to be a fan of the source material. The cast talks about it all the time, of how they're all just fans of the actual source material. Matt talks about it as well. So I think it's the fact that, one, everybody's a fan, but two, everybody buys into it. One Piece is fucking weird. If you're a fan and you know just kind of the things that are introduced in this show and all the other things, One Piece is just a fucking strange cornucopia of all kinds of wild, crazy shit. Like, everything in this show you get, it's just all fucking weird, but everybody has to buy in to actually sell it and to make it compelling, and I feel like everybody does that to a T. And like, it manages to capture just the camaraderie, the spirit, and the heart of the source material. It captures it all so damn well, and I feel like because of it extends into so much. Like I said, from the production to the casting to the wardrobe, all of that is just so damn good. And then you add to that just like stellar production design, better action and fight choreography. One Piece is very much quickly becoming the greatest live action adaptation for an anime that's ever been done, and it's because of all that shit, as I just said. So hopefully they are able to keep it up. One thing I do want to bring up to kind of be in a little bit more of a negative thing. One, I know Otis talked about he does have an idea for how he wants this to end. So it seems like we're not going to get the entirety of the source material. But Oda talks about how he does have a plan for how he wants this to end. But of course, my whole thing is Netflix is synonymous for canceling shows. This show, I already know, is going to have the potential to be an extremely expensive show. Especially if we get to more of the super fucking out there shit. Like, I think next season is going to be a really big kind of proving ground for this show. Like, I feel like by the time we get to season 3, the honeymoon period might be over. Like, everybody knows this. I think everybody who's watching it is all going to be in and know, like, they did a damn good job of adapting this live action. We know it's good. We know they've done a really good job of adapting the source material. So now it's like, okay, now that honeymoon period's done, and now we kind of gotta go a little bit more in to kind of justify the existence. What more can you do to kind of act as your own thing, but still being faithful to the source material? You know what I mean? And next season could be very fucking expensive. I definitely feel like if we ever get there, Skypiea and then like Water 7 Enies Lobby, all those have the potential to be super fucking expensive seasons. I remember already seeing like the viewership was kind of slightly down from season 1. My whole thing is like the show is only going to get more expensive. Will Netflix continue to be able to justify the price tag to keep doing this? That's my biggest worry about the show. Because again, the casting is only going to get bigger. Remember, we have what, 2 more technically 3, but she's already appeared. But we got 2 more Straw Hats that's going to have to join the group as we keep going. Bigger sets, more exotic locations, bigger effects. You know, fucking, like, depending on what the crocodile fight looks like, I can only imagine what the fucking, like, the Inaru fights is gonna fucking look like when they get to Skypiea. You know what I mean? So that's one small worry I have. Will Netflix continue to pay what I can only imagine will be the inflating price tag, especially with the fucking economy is looking now? Like I said, shit's gonna get more expensive. And also, if the show continues to work out, the cast can also get more popular. They get more work. Their price tags are probably going to get higher too. So that's just one worry I have. I feel like this show could possibly just get priced out, and Netflix maybe doesn't continue to see the continue paying for the return of investment on it. So that's just a small little worry I have. But besides that, the show is fucking top notch. I will give it that. This show is up there, and I cannot wait for fucking season 3 and the Alabasta arc, because the Alabasta arc is generally regarded as like the first major universally beloved arc in the source material. So I can't wait to see it and see what they do. But anyway, that is it for I Just Watched. That's me just watching One Piece Into the Grand Line. So let me know, what did you think of the show down below? Did you enjoy it as much as I did? Any Easter eggs or callbacks that you point out? Oh, I also forgot to mention, they also debuted Mr. 11 and his partner. Mr. 11 isn't new, but he played a little bit, he did a little bit more than he did in the source material, and his partner was new too. But that's another difference there too. But let me know if there are any Easter eggs or any other thing or any differences I missed. Let me know in the comments below. What did you think of the season? Do you enjoy this much? Clearly, I just gushed about it for a damn near half an hour. So let me know if you enjoyed it as much as I did, or the things I pointed out you'll also like as well. Let me know in the comments down below. Also, check out some of our other things as well. We got more excuse me. We got more Dragon Age. We got more RoboCop coming. I'm starting Invincible and Daredevil, so those are going to be the next I just watched that we cover here as well. But anyway, that's it for me here today. Thank you all so much for watching. I do, of course, very much appreciate it. So until next time, everybody, always remember, stay watching, stay playing, stay awesome. Most importantly, stay safe out there. Until next time, everybody, I will see you all later. Goodbye.